My sister, Chloe, found out she had leukemia after a regular health appointment. Then we found out my bone marrow was a perfect match for hers. Just to see what would happen, I told our family that I was the sick one instead. They were totally against it. They said things like, "Giving bone marrow is dangerous. We can't let your sister face that danger. Don't pull her into your problems. Life and death are decided by fate. You should just accept it." My sister Chloe directly refused, telling me she was busy trying to get pregnant. The already weak ties holding our family together finally snapped completely. I understood then. I left the medical test results for them and walked away, planning never to return. Right around the time I discovered I was a match, I had also just found out I was pregnant. My work mentor, looking very serious, took me aside for a private chat. He explained that if I wanted to donate bone marrow to Chloe, there was a strong possibility I would have to end my pregnancy. He strongly advised me to think carefully and talk it over with my husband, Mark. This left me feeling incredibly conflicted. Getting pregnant had been a long journey, involving traditional health methods and careful planning. Mark was absolutely thrilled when he heard the news, eager to tell everyone he was going to be a father. How could I possibly think about ending the pregnancy? But Chloe is only 29 years old, and she's special. She was always the favorite child in our parents' eyes. If anything bad happened to her, it would devastate them. After struggling with this decision all afternoon, I decided to go to my parents' house after work. When I arrived, the family was having a cheerful dinner. Besides Chloe and her family, my brother David and his girlfriend were also there, celebrating something. My showing up killed the happy atmosphere. Everyone stopped smiling and put down their drinks. The room went awkwardly silent. Mom tried to smooth things over, welcoming me warmly, but with a noticeable distance. She said, "Oh, Maya, we thought you were busy, so we didn't want to interrupt you. But it's lucky you're here. Come eat with us." Her movements, however, felt overly polite and not genuine. I decided to go along with her act. Unexpectedly, I took her hand gently and said, "Mom, I'm sick." Her hand tensed up, but she didn't pull away immediately. "Just eat more food. That fixes everything," she said quickly, not even asking what illness I had, and found a reason to take her hand back. David frowned. "Maya, are you just here to ruin the happy mood? Every single time we're having fun, you spoil it. Today is about celebrating Chloe's upcoming trip abroad. Don't try to tell me you didn't do this on purpose." I ignored him and sat in the chair Mom had pulled out for me. "I have leukemia." David went quiet. Mom's hand trembled and she dropped her chopsticks. Silence filled the dining room. Tears started to form in Mom's eyes, and Dad finally spoke. He said, "Your husband's family should know. They have the money to pay for your treatment." He glanced at me with disapproval and added, "You need to stay calm about things like this. Don't give your mother a shock and make her blood pressure shoot up." Mom started putting food onto my plate, agreeing with him. "Listen to your father. Eat first, and we can talk later." Chloe joined in, smiling widely like a child without a care. "Yeah, Maya, think positive thoughts. That's the key to staying healthy." I didn't touch the food. I just looked around at them all. "I'm not asking for money for treatment," I said. "I wanted to ask if Chloe would donate her bone marrow to me." The room went silent again. Dad finally slammed his chopsticks down on the table. "That's ridiculous," he exclaimed, his brow furrowed. "Don't you understand how risky donating bone marrow is?" I managed a small, bitter smile. "So, my life isn't worth even a tiny risk." But Dad stubbornly turned away. "We cannot risk even that small 1% chance with Chloe. If something happens to her for her, it's 100% loss." I wasn't shocked. As the second child who was sent away to be raised by others, Dad had never really wanted me around, not even now. Thankfully, Mom and Chloe had usually been a bit kinder. I looked towards Mom. Tears were already streaming down her face. I had hoped maybe that illness could finally bring us closer. Maybe she would hug me like she always hugged Chloe. But instead, she spoke words that broke my heart. "Child, life and death are determined by fate. You have to learn to accept it." Holding her hand over her heart sorrowfully, she added, "You're sick yourself. Why do you want to drag Chloe down with you? If I lost both of my daughters, how could I possibly go on living?" I realized then it wasn't the fear of losing both daughters that scared her. It was the fear of losing only Chloe. I turned to look at Chloe, waiting for her reaction. Ever since I had moved back, she had treated me decently. She would even tell David off when he was mean to me. But now she was glaring at me with an anger I hadn't seen before. Maya, you planned this, she shouted, standing up abruptly. I've wanted to say this for a long time. You think it was unfair that you were sent away, and ever since you came back, you've been so gloomy, trying to make everyone else miserable. Acting all weak like you suffered so much living away from home? Don't think we can't see you're just trying to make mom and dad feel guilty. She paused, taking a breath to steady her voice. But there's a limit. We ignore the small things, but now you're talking about bone marrow donation so casually? Do you want to put our parents in an impossible position? If they refuse, they look heartless. If they agree, they might lose two daughters. You always say I'm the cruel one, so why can't you just let us be happy? After hearing Chloe speak, Mom finally broke down crying, overcome with her own feelings of injustice. Chloe, stop it. It's all your father's fault for insisting on having both a boy and a girl. Otherwise, we wouldn't have. She didn't finish the sentence, but everyone understood what she meant. She meant that otherwise, I wouldn't have been born. David stood up too, and both he and Chloe stood beside Mom, giving me the same look of resentment. Chloe lifted her head, looking self-righteous. Maya, I won't give you the chance to hurt Mom and Dad. Let me be perfectly clear right now. I will not donate my bone marrow to you. She stood proudly next to Mom. This has nothing to do with Mom and Dad. If word gets out, don't say they are heartless. This is my own selfish decision. I'm afraid Mom will be heartbroken if she loses two daughters. It's my choice to refuse to donate. I will take all the blame. I played with the hospital report still in my pocket and couldn't stop a small chuckle. After a moment, I looked straight at Chloe and asked slowly, emphasizing each word, "Are you absolutely sure, no matter what, you won't donate?" Looking even more like someone making a noble sacrifice, she declared, "I absolutely will not donate. If you need someone to blame, blame me. Don't direct your anger at Mom and Dad." Besides, she added, I'm trying to get pregnant right now. I can't sacrifice my potential child's life just to save yours. I laughed, tears welling in my eyes, and looked at her with pity. Then, softly, I said, Yes, you're right. You can't save someone by ending your child's life. Chloe didn't seem to understand my meaning and lowered her head to comfort Mom. Meanwhile, Mom was crying uncontrollably, gasping for breath between sobs. She leaned heavily on her two children. Acting as if she were the one left alone with leukemia, she weakly patted her chest. It's all your fault, Robert, she sobbed at my dad, for insisting on having a son and a daughter. Dad, annoyed at being blamed, slammed the table and stood up. He walked towards me, pulling a thick red envelope from his pocket. He threw it down in front of me as if tossing coins to a beggar. Whether you're really sick or just making it up, take this money and get out. If you cause your mother any more stress, don't expect me to acknowledge you ever again. The envelope was obviously prepared earlier with care. Looking closer, I saw pretty handwritten words on it. Wishing our dear daughter Chloe a successful performance tour, have a wonderful time. I chuckled sadly at myself, then looked up at Dad. Giving me this money to save my life? I asked. Won't it mess up your precious daughter's travel plans? His tone was cold, without any warmth. Don't give me that sarcastic attitude, he said. You always wanted fairness and justice. Fine. If that's the case, I don't mind cutting ties with you completely. I never wanted you in the first place, but I made arrangements for you to be raised, made sure you had food and clothes. You should be thankful, not constantly starting fights. He was resolute, turning his face away. I always listened to your mother and put up with you. Today you've gone too far. Don't blame me for saying I no longer consider you my daughter. He had finally cast me out. The restaurant fell silent once more. They all silently created a path for me to leave, watching quietly, waiting for me, the family disgrace, to take the hand out and go. At that moment, I understood. No matter how much I tried to be humble or fit in, I could never truly be part of this family. And besides, who would want a family like this? So when I looked up again, I dropped the cautious act I usually maintained. I picked up the envelope, feeling its weight, and slowly stood up. In my heels, I was just as tall as Dad. I wasn't that little girl anymore, the one who used to eagerly wait for his monthly visits. I looked him straight in the eyes and asked quietly, "Since you always said you didn't want me, why was I born? Or maybe," I added pointedly, "I'm someone else's child." Dad was too shocked to speak. His lips trembled and he started to raise his hand as if to hit me. I quickly stepped aside, causing him to stumble. Then, I gestured towards Mom with my chin. "And you," I said, "stop with the fake crying. If you didn't want me either, why weren't you strong enough to do something about it back then?" Her pretense of feeling indebted to me vanished. She angrily pointed a trembling finger at me. "You ungrateful child! I gave birth to you. How can we be so different?" Chloe threw herself into her mother's arms, crying loudly. David looked like he wanted to hit me and lunged forward, grabbing my wrist. Their partners also joined in the commotion. The restaurant erupted into chaos. While being pulled and pushed, I felt a sharp slap across my face from Dad. My head snapped to the side, and warm blood started trickling from my nose. "Get out!" he yelled. "From this moment on, we are finished. I have no such disrespectful child in my family." Everything seemed fine over where they stood. Only then did I truly feel the strange, protective connection I had with the tiny life growing inside me. Since this baby is what I want, I cannot fail it. So I lifted my face, glaring back at him. "Fine, you said it. I am no longer your daughter." Dad gave me a look of disgust, his face cold. "That's right, I said it, and my word is final." "Fine," I repeated. "From now on, we go our separate ways. Whoever contacts the other for help first is a coward." Dad remained silent, his neck stiff with pride, but Chloe cried out, "Yes, whoever asks for help first is a terrible person and will die a horrible death." I smiled and pulled the medical report from my pocket, tossing it onto the red envelope. "Great, Chloe. Remember what you promised today. I won't take the money. You might need it more." I should have felt relieved. The problem that had bothered me all afternoon was solved. I could finally keep my baby without guilt, free from the obligation to donate bone marrow. I didn't have to deal with those family relationships anymore. But as I laughed, tears just kept streaming down my face. I ended up sitting alone at an empty bus stop. Everyone else had a ride home, but I felt lost, unsure of where I belonged. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with messages from the extended family group chat, which had about 60 people in it. I opened it and saw an announcement from Dad. "Maya, the disrespectful daughter, has insulted her parents and behaved terribly. We have officially cut all family ties with her. From this point forward, any debts she incurs or requests for donations made using our family name will not be recognized by us. Please be aware of this." My blood felt like it turned to ice. I couldn't imagine how devastating this would be if I were actually the one who was sick. Robert is truly ruthless. But really, he was only cornering himself. After his announcement, the usually quiet family chat exploded with activity. Everyone started gossiping about what could have happened. An aunt tried to get more information. Children who don't grow up nearby can be difficult to manage. It's often the parents' fault, you know. Saying it doesn't involve you won't solve anything. An uncle advised caution. "Don't be too severe, Robert. Family bonds are strong. Things will probably calm down once you cool off." Seeing that the relatives weren't taking his dramatic announcement very seriously, David stepped in. "Maya is sick and wants my sister Chloe to risk her own health by donating bone marrow. Maya refuses to suffer alone and is trying to emotionally blackmail my parents, potentially causing them to lose both their children." After David's comment, the group chat became even more active. Someone questioned, "I thought donating bone marrow wasn't actually that risky. Maybe she just wants to save her own life and isn't trying to put your sister in danger. And she probably isn't trying to pressure your parents either. The poor girl. If the risk isn't high, shouldn't the bone marrow be donated?" Realizing the gossip was shifting in my favor, Chloe intervened. "Friends and relatives, family problems shouldn't be aired publicly, but Dad only posted that to stop you all from being tricked. Whether bone marrow donation is risky or not, Maya will definitely start asking all of you if you're a match. Dad just wanted to warn everyone. David added, if she contacts any of you, we are not responsible for anything. After that, even the people who had been defending me stopped talking. Everyone was afraid the problem might land on their doorstep. Chloe continued, adopting a reasonable tone. Being afraid of risk is perfectly normal. It's not shameful if you don't want to donate. We all have our own families to look after. Honestly, if I were the one who was sick, I wouldn't even ask my own family members for help. Some people, clearly scared of getting involved, started agreeing with Chloe. And just like that, my being cut off from the family became a silently accepted fact. I leaned back against the cold bench, unable to stop myself from laughing sarcastically. Laughing and crying at the same time, I took screenshots of the chat and then called Mark. Honey, I said, I've decided. We're keeping the baby. Can you come pick me up? It seemed no one had bothered to look at the test results I'd left inside the red envelope. Chloe's life on social media appeared completely normal, as always. On Mother's Day, she posted photos of taking Mom to a temple to light incense. Her caption read something like, "The best gift for Mom is taking good care of myself." Not long after, I received a good luck charm from Mom, delivered through someone else. A day before she was supposed to leave for her overseas tour, Chloe shared a family photo from her send-off party. True family always wants what's best for each other, she wrote. They wouldn't drag each other down. David liked the post and commented, exactly. 2 days before her departure date, she posted a lighthearted message. Goodbye to all the troubling things and annoying people. Starting tomorrow, I'm taking flight. But the day right before she was scheduled to leave, her social media went unusually silent. I wasn't surprised. That was the day she would receive her own test results. Chloe's dance group had their required physical checkups done at the hospital where I worked right before their tour. Thanks to my mentor, I knew her results before she did. My mentor is a leading expert in leukemia treatment, and our department had recently become part of the official bone marrow donor registry. So it was a strange twist of fate that I was the first to know about the matching results between Chloe and me. Chloe arrived just as we were about to close for the day. She and David were standing in the doorway of my mentor's office. Doctor, this test result has to be wrong, Chloe said, trying to sound calm but clearly anxious. You see, I recently had a big argument with my sister Maya, and she works in your department. She must have been angry with me for refusing to donate bone marrow and secretly changed my test results. Her statement made everyone else in the office look up, surprised. Chloe seemed to gain confidence from the attention. So, doctor, could you please just correct the results? Our dance group urgently needs this health certificate because my flight leaves tonight. My mentor adjusted his glasses, considering how to respond gently. An important result like this, the hospital would never dare to make a mistake. David cut him off angrily. You wouldn't dare make a mistake? Yet you let Maya change people's results whenever she feels like it? You better give me a proper explanation or I'll sue your entire department. I walked in just as this scene was unfolding. David saw me and rushed towards me, but my mentor quickly stood up, pushing him back sharply. He called for security, his face stern and cold. Chloe quickly put on a pleading smile. My brother is just very upset. Please, doctor, just change the result for me this once. We promise we won't blame Maya for anything. I'm desperate. My flight is tonight. The mentor frowned and looked up at me. Didn't you tell them about the results? I left the test report with them, I replied quietly, but it looks like they never bothered to check it. Chloe's smile froze on her face. My colleagues gathered around me protectively, whispering words of support as they gently touched my stomach. They treat you like this? And you are still thinking about whether to donate bone marrow for her? You must be a saint. Why even consider losing your own baby to save such ungrateful people? Chloe stumbled backward, collapsing heavily onto a nearby chair. David, still clueless, continued to rage. Well, Maya, you and your colleagues are all in on this, deceiving us. Just you wait, I'll bring your whole department down. No one will get away with this. His threats were ignored because, at that moment, Chloe's nose started to bleed. One drop, then another. They fell silently onto her clean white dress. Chloe was completely terrified. Her eyes filled with tears, and she quickly covered her nose, trying to hide the spreading blood stain on her dress with her hands. She looked up at me, her expression a mixture of fear and anger. "It's you! It must be you who did this!" The people around watched her with different levels of pity. And then, she completely broke down, tears streaming down her face. In the end, security had to escort both her and David out of the office. Chloe never made it overseas for the tour. Her entire family rushed her from hospital to hospital for urgent testing. The diagnosis was undeniable. They finally found the test report I had left behind in the red envelope. Only then did they realize the full weight of what they had done. The day they discovered the report, my mom called me. As soon as I answered, her loud, heartbroken sobs filled my ear. "Maya, you did this on purpose. I didn't believe it until now. You deliberately provoked us, made us cut ties with you, all because you didn't want to save your sister." At that moment, she wasn't thinking I was the only one who could save Chloe. With their money and connections, they probably felt confident they could find treatment for her elsewhere. So, she let her anger flow freely, cursing me out. I quietly hung up the phone and blocked her number. Eventually, after exploring their options, they went to the most respected expert, my mentor. The next time I saw them was at the hospital where Chloe had been admitted. Robert grabbed my mentor's hand, saying that cost was no object. He wanted his daughter cured. He tried to slip an even bigger envelope into the mentor's hand than the one he had thrown at me that day. My mentor refused the envelope. He calmly explained that there wasn't a suitable bone marrow match available in the registry yet, so they would have to start with less aggressive treatments. He suggested organizing willing family members and friends to get tested, hoping for a potential match among them. Robert immediately offered his own arm. "Test me. She's my daughter. I'm sure I'll be a match. I'll donate." My mentor glanced silently back at me. Following his gaze, Robert awkwardly cleared his throat when he saw me standing there. I opened my file and formally read out the potential risks associated with donating bone marrow. After I finished, I looked directly at Robert. "With so many risks involved in donating marrow, are you still willing to do it?" He stubbornly avoided my eyes. "Donate," he insisted. David seemed more direct. "No need for all this talk. I'll donate. I can't help it. I favor my sister over anyone, especially you, Maya." I turned to my mom. "Are you going to get tested too?" She stayed silent, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "A mother loves all her children," she mumbled. "If I hadn't been so angry with you that day, I wouldn't have—" I let out a small scoff, cutting her off. "Just tell me if you'll get tested or not so I can arrange the necessary checks." The words seemed stuck in her throat. She looked down embarrassed. "Donate," she finally whispered. "So, you agree with David donating too?" I pressed. Her voice trembled. "Yes." "And now you're not afraid of the risk?" I asked pointedly. "Not afraid of losing both your children?" Back at the office later, my mentor was already there. As soon as I walked in, a few colleagues gathered around me. Yogurt, nuts, and small snacks quickly piled up on my desk. "Maya, a happy mood leads to a healthy baby," one said. "Yeah, just forget about annoying people in situations. That's how you have a beautiful baby," another added. A third gave me a hug. "We'll always love you, Maya." My eyes felt a little watery. The heavy feeling from the hospital ward lifted considerably. My mentor walked over and dropped a stack of papers on my desk. "Stop snacking and get back to work," he said gruffly, but with a hidden kindness. "Or you'll have trouble with a natural delivery." The office erupted in gentle laughter. The atmosphere suddenly relaxed. A colleague who had heard the match results first mumbled quietly, "Well, karma is real. Not a single match among them." They didn't give up after that result, though. They went to other hospitals to get the tests verified. We ran into each other again when those results came back confirming no match. My mother, who had always been pampered, looked 10 years older. Her shoulders were slumped and her eyes looked sunken. Seeing me enter the elevator, her eyes lit up with unexpected hope. She hesitated for a moment, then finally gathered the courage to speak. "Maya." I remained silent. "Maya, how have you been lately?" she asked tentatively. "What do you really want to say?" I replied flatly. Her face crumpled and tears streamed down again. Maya, you're a doctor. What can be done about your sister's illness? Just then, my phone rang. It was my mentor. Maya, the bone marrow bank just called. A potential match has been found for Chloe. All three of us in the elevator suddenly looked hopeful. Mom happily reached for my hand. You see? You'll donate. You'll help your sister. I gently pulled my hand away and handed her the takeout container I was carrying. Take this. Let your daughter eat. Didn't you say eating well cures everything? Mom's face quickly turned bright red. David cursed under his breath and moved as if to hit me, but Robert held him back. When the elevator door opened, I walked out without looking back. I was curious to see just how far they would go for Chloe. It turned out their next actions still managed to surprise me. That night, Robert withdrew the earlier announcement about disowning me from our extended family group chat. This action made it even clearer that his issue wasn't about preferring sons over daughters. They simply didn't want an extra, unwanted child like me messing things up. After Robert retracted the announcement, someone in the chat commented, "So, Robert calmed down, huh? It hasn't been long, and he's already taking it back. What could possibly come between family? Just talk things through." Robert posted some embarrassed-looking emojis, not denying their friendly teasing. Then he spoke up directly in the chat. It was my fault for not asking questions clearly before. I acted impulsively. Donating bone marrow isn't actually risky at all, just like giving blood. What harm can come from drawing a couple of tubes of blood? I even heard it can be good for your health. A moment later, second aunt replied with 3 large question marks. Robert, you were the one saying it was risky and that you were cutting ties. Now you're saying it's beneficial? You've been telling completely different stories. Are you about to make another announcement? Third uncle, always liking to stir things up, chimed in. Yeah, third brother, feeling sorry for the kids now. Trying to convince the rest of us to donate bone marrow? You're the one who told us there was a risk and that you wouldn't be responsible if anything happened, so now we're all scared to do it. Seeing his solo performance wasn't working, Mom, who rarely ever spoke in the group chat, came to his rescue. We all went to the hospital for tests a few days ago, she wrote. Honestly, there's no risk. They just took a couple of blood samples, and our son-in-law gave us all big red envelopes afterward. He said that whoever turns out to be a match will get a house in their name. Such a huge incentive got the group buzzing immediately. Is Maya's husband's family that wealthy? Just giving away a house like that? Maybe it was just a spur-of-the-moment offer? Who would actually dare to ask for a house later on? Everyone seemed to agree with this skepticism. Clearly, they wanted Robert to make a solid promise. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Mom became anxious. Why wouldn't they give a house? Of course they will. You all know our son-in-law is very well off. I'll have him write a guarantee. Robert quickly agreed. Totally. We'll have the son-in-law write a guarantee. If someone is a match, I absolutely stand by my word. Maybe Robert forgot I was still in the group chat, or perhaps he thought I wouldn't dare expose him. But seeing my husband Mark working late in his study, I quietly typed out a statement in the chat. There was no way I was letting anyone try to claim the house Mark had worked so hard for. My statement read, "Hello everyone, this is Maya. My sister Chloe is the one with leukemia, not me. I do not need a bone marrow match, therefore my husband's house has not been promised to anyone. I have indeed cut all ties with Robert's family. Robert, who claims to stand by his word, is trying to get you all to donate bone marrow using false promises. Please investigate thoroughly. Any consequences that might arise from donating under these circumstances are not my responsibility." Maya! Someone exclaimed. Some of the younger cousins, who still had a sense of fairness, started speaking up. Uncle Robert, what is going on? It's Chloe who's sick. Why did you say it was Maya? You're not being fair. You initially thought Maya was sick, so you cut ties. Now you find out it's Chloe and you're tricking us into donating? Would anyone believe you, Uncle? Such obvious favoritism. If you act like this, who would dare donate to help your family? Third brother, that's really not okay. We're family. There's no need to deceive us like this. It's not about the house, but Using tactics like this means nobody will dare to step up anymore, and Chloe, seeing things going completely wrong, couldn't stay silent any longer. She sent a long voice message to the group. With audible sobs, she begged her friends and family for help. She even repeated the offer of a house, promising to remember her lifesaver forever. However, everyone knew she had signed a prenuptial agreement, making such an offer impossible for her to fulfill. And Robert, who was desperately hoping to buy a house for David, certainly couldn't afford to give one away. Then, someone shared a screenshot in the chat. It was from a previous conversation where Chloe herself had written, "We all have our own families to look after. Honestly, if I were the one who was sick, I wouldn't even ask my own family members for help." The group chat fell completely silent. That last message hung there, highlighted like a huge slap across Chloe's face. A few of Robert's closest relatives, though clearly reluctant, did eventually get tested. Big uncle, second uncle, and a few cousins went, but none of them were a match. Eventually, Mom still came looking for me. It happened right in Chloe's hospital room. I was pulled inside the enormous private room where several cameras were already set up. Mom immediately dropped to her knees in front of me. "Maya, I'm begging you, please save your sister. Only you are a match for her. Why won't you help?" I recognized a few well-known online video bloggers among the people holding cameras. They were live streaming. A colleague who happened to come by looked concerned and showed me her phone. The live stream had a massive audience. Comments were flooding in. "This girl is heartless, right? It's her own sister. How can she refuse to help? She's a nurse, too. Doesn't even save her own family? Who else would she possibly save?" I put my phone away and stared coldly at Mom. "So, if I refuse to donate, your plan is to ruin my reputation?" I asked. "Ruin another daughter, and you're still not afraid of losing both?" Mom's face turned visibly red. But glancing over at Chloe lying weakly in the hospital bed, her eyes gained a firmness that only a mother could possess. It was a look of maternal protection, a feeling I had never experienced from her myself. Mom seemed desperate now, hitting her forehead repeatedly on the hard floor. "Maya, I beg you. Please just consider the fact that I brought you into this world. Save your sister. It's just donating bone marrow. There's no real risk. Why won't you help?" The online comments continued. "Does she think she's better than her sister? Don't be foolish when it comes to life and death. Mom is only thinking of what's best for you. Imagine if your sister. Wouldn't you regret not helping for the rest of your life? Her own mother even kneeled and she just stands there unmoved. Right, donating bone marrow isn't that risky. Why is she making things so difficult for her family? It's better to save both daughters if possible. Her mother is willingly kneeling. I'm actually crying watching this." Mom knelt further, gripping my leg tightly. "Maya, if you're angry because Mom took better care of your sister, I apologize. It's all Mom's fault. Please don't take it out on your sister. If you promise to save Chloe, it doesn't matter if your mom has to die. As long as you two can get along well, you can live without guilt," Mom pleaded. David, who had been standing stubbornly off to the side, finally gave in. He knelt down too, straight and stiff. I couldn't help but laugh. "Weren't you about to hit me in the elevator just the other day? What's this performance about now?" His face turned a deep shade of red. He glared at me, looking like he wished he could tear me apart. Then he slammed his forehead hard onto the floor with a loud thud, definitely not a gentle tap. The live stream chat exploded with even more hatred towards me. This woman is a cold-blooded doctor. Does she want to drive her mother to death and her brother insane? She works at such and such hospital. Let's go confront her. Those of you nearby, go first. I'll be right there. A colleague tugged anxiously at my sleeve. I gave her a reassuring look, trying to signal, "Don't worry." There were only about 10,000 people watching the live chat. Far from enough to truly intimidate. They seemed to realize it was time for the final act. Robert. He shuffled over towards me with a noticeable limp, looking like his gout was bothering him. Tears rolled down his face as he gazed at me. His eyes were desperately trying to shine with fatherly affection, but it just made my skin crawl. I had never seen him look at me like that, not even on the day he sent me away as a child. I rubbed my arms, feeling disgusted, and turned away slightly. If you're going to kneel, just do it, I said flatly. Spare me the sickeningly sweet talk. Robert choked on his words, his mouth open but nothing coming out. Then, he dropped heavily to his knees. The chat went absolutely wild. Oh my God, that kneel looked like it hurt me. This poor father is making me cry. Damn, if I ever meet that heartless woman, I'd slap her so hard. Then, Chloe dramatically stumbled out of her hospital bed, tears streaming down her face as she reached her mother's side. Mom, don't beg her, she sobbed, her cries sounding heartbreakingly real. Even if I die, I don't want to see you lower yourself like this. Mom, please stand up. It breaks my heart to see you like this. She tried to pull Robert and David up, but they wouldn't move. So the entire family sat there on their knees, wrapped in each other's arms, crying together in a heap. The online comments urged action. Is it just donating bone marrow? Take mine. Where do I sign up to donate? Check me too. We need to make this doctor pay today. The hospital entrance was quickly becoming swarmed with angry people. Even the hospital administrators showed up to see what the commotion was about. Mom's sobbing slowly stopped. She reached for my hand again, certainty and triumph gleaming in her eyes. Maya, when has a family ever failed to talk things through? I spoke with the hospital leaders. They promised they won't cause any trouble for you. Just go ahead and donate now. I've already made your father take back his words about cutting ties. After you donate, I'll make you a wonderful meal to help you recover. I studied Mom carefully. Her features were quite similar to mine. The soft hands, the eyes now filled with what looked like motherly love. That look was all I had ever wanted in my childhood dreams. Now, seeing it deployed as a tactic just disgusted me. Indifferently, I pushed her hand away and gestured toward the door where my mentor and the hospital leaders were standing. The crowd parted, and they walked in. The leaders are here. They're here. Fire this cold-hearted person, someone shouted from the crowd. Mom immediately put on a respectful act, bowing deeply to the administrators. Leaders, please don't fire my daughter. She will donate. I convinced her. She finally agreed. Even my mentor looked at me with disbelief on his face. I gave him a helpless look, then casually took out my phone. Who said I agreed to donate? I asked calmly. Everyone, including Mom, fell silent. The online chat was momentarily stunned as well. Unbelievable! Even with the hospital leaders right there, she's still refusing. Time for the online justice warriors to step in. Let's all head down to such and such hospital. I queued up a video on my phone and projected it onto the large screen in the room. Then, I calmly adjusted my collar, facing the cameras. Since you're all so eager to watch a show, I announced, let me give you something more substantial to chew on. Remember me? I'm Maya, the second child in a family that had a third child just to get a boy. I was sent away to live with relatives when I was only 4 years old. Only after my aunt passed away when I was 17 did they bring me back home. Here, I said, gesturing to the screen, is the reason why I will not donate my bone marrow. Check out this video. They finally realized something was wrong. David reacted the fastest, lunging forward to grab my phone, but the security guards who were already present to maintain order quickly restrained him. Mom's face turned deathly pale. She shook Robert's arm furiously. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you wanting a boy... They signaled frantically, but I hit play. Tens of thousands of people watching the live stream went silent. The hospital room and the crowded hallway outside quieted down too. It was so quiet that the only sound was the audio from the video playing on the screen. It was footage from the security camera in the kitchen, capturing the entire dining area on the day I came home and pretended to be sick. Video me. Mom, I'm sick. Video mom, serving food. Eat more. Food fixes everything. Video me. I have leukemia. Video mom. A full stomach cures all. Video me. Could my sister donate her bone marrow? Video dad. Slamming chopsticks. Ridiculous. Online comments flew by again. Holy crap, what did I just watch? Total plot twist. So there was a reason she wouldn't donate. This family is unbelievably hypocritical. It's infuriating. The video continued playing. Video Chloe, chuckling. You worry too much. Smile more. It fixes everything. Online comment. Now that she's the sick one, why doesn't she just smile it away? Hypocrite. Video dad throwing the red envelope. Take the money and scram. Slaps me. I'm Robert and I stand by my word, cutting family ties with you. Video me grinning through pain. Fine. Whoever asks for help first is the coward. Online comment. This dude's trying to knock someone out? What a loser. Online comment. This old jerk is so damn biased, I'm furious. Video Chloe. Yes, anyone who asks for help is a terrible person. May they be struck by lightning and die miserably. Online comment. Oh my god, how can such a sweet-looking girl be so vicious? Online comment. Die a miserable death. Karma hits fast. Online comment. No wonder she refused to ask for help earlier. She swore a deadly oath. Online comment. Instant karma. That's too satisfying. The video then showed what happened after I left that night. The medical report lay on top of the red envelope, untouched. David casually tossed it aside like garbage and handed the envelope to Chloe. Here's your money for the trip abroad, sis. Have fun and don't let that ruin your mood. Let's keep eating, someone said. The bad mood left, so let's continue. The atmosphere wasn't quite as cheerful as before, but dinner did continue. Mom was still wiping away tears, but kept piling food onto her children's plates, even worrying about Chloe eating well before her trip. At the table, only one person who wasn't immediate family had put down their utensils, looking uncomfortable. Outside the hospital, a commotion started. Whispers reached Robert's ears. Suddenly, Robert grabbed a nearby chair and smashed it violently against the TV screen. The wall-mounted TV crashed to the floor, the image disappearing with a fizzling sound. His violent action only made the shouting outside grow louder. Heartless family, getting sick serves you right. Call me Grandpa if I ever help you. How can you be so biased? If you didn't want her, why have her in the first place? Can't even raise the children you bring into the world. Girl, don't you dare donate to them. Treat them exactly how they treated you. Mom hugged Chloe tightly and backed away, pleading repeatedly. Maya, please close the door. Stop filming. Just get out. Oh? I asked sarcastically. Now that you're the ones being filmed and cursed at, you can't handle it? Please teach me. What does treat others as you want to be treated really mean? Robert and David were being held back by security guards. Messages flooded the live comments. Gathered at the hospital entrance, change of plans, attack the family, not the doctor. Let's show them we're not people to be messed with. Finally, I displayed my own medical proof on the screen. It was clear evidence of my pregnancy. Since there are so many people watching today, let's have you all be witnesses, I announced. I am currently 20 weeks pregnant. My supervising doctor, my mentor here, advised me that if I were to donate bone marrow now, I would most likely need to terminate my pregnancy first. Chloe's life matters, I continued, and so does the life of my unborn baby. To be honest, I did struggle with this choice. I hesitated between these two lives, unsure whether I should donate or not. Before I could finish my sentence, Mom rushed towards me, her eyes lit up as if she'd heard a glimmer of hope. Maya, Mom knew you couldn't be so heartless. You're pregnant? Listen to Mom, you can always have more children later, but a person who dies can't come back to life. Online comments erupted. Shut the hell up. You can't just replace one child with another. Why should she sacrifice her child for your daughter? If those people hadn't been outside, they might have burst in to hit her. I pushed Mom aside firmly and continued speaking. They're right. It dawned on me later that once a child is gone, they are gone forever. It's not the same. This child was a blessing for me, a gift. I cannot just end their life lightly. Therefore, I concluded firmly, I cannot donate the bone marrow. I explained everything clearly to prevent them from harassing the hospital administration any further, and also to ensure public opinion would support my decision. Once I finished, the hospital's lead administrator took a stand, stating clearly that if the family harassed me or the hospital staff again, he would ensure they were removed from the hospital premises entirely. The issue seemed settled. They had lost all hope. But I had underestimated the depth of their love for Chloe, or perhaps their desperation. As my colleagues escorted me out of the room, Mom knelt down again in front of the cameras. This time, with all her remaining strength, she started hitting her head hard on the floor. Please, it's all our fault. We're just two old fools. Please, just donate the marrow for my daughter. I'm begging you. At that precise moment, a screenshot from the family group chat surfaced online, spreading rapidly. Chloe's bold declarations were highlighted. If I got sick, I'd never ask family for help. And David's comment, our family takes no responsibility. Curses rained down online, and absolutely no one stepped forward offering to be tested as a potential match. They tried selling their house and offering large rewards, but very few people showed up for testing. After the live broadcast uproar, Robert and David were met at the hospital entrance by the enraged crowd they themselves had inadvertently summoned. The blows originally intended for me landed squarely on them instead. Following that incident, Chloe's condition deteriorated quickly. To protect me, my department arranged for me to work temporarily at a different location. Mark was worried, hoping I wouldn't go to work at all, fearing retaliation from my family. Yet instead of seeking revenge, the first person to arrive at my door was Mom. She came late one night. In the freezing cold, she stood outside my apartment building, holding a food container, just waiting for me. Mark let her in. Apart from her brief visit from my wedding, this was the first time she had ever been to my home. She looked around the apartment, her eyes getting moist. She opened the container, laying out its contents layer by layer. It was sweet and sour ribs. She wiped her eyes. Your favorite dish when you were little, she whispered. My chest tightened with a sudden pang of emotion. 4-year-olds aren't supposed to have such clear memories, but I will never forget. I was eating her sweet and sour ribs on the very day they sent me away. My mother, who had never smiled warmly at me before, smiled that day, gently feeding me ribs she said she made especially for me. But before I could even finish one piece, Robert came over, looking stern and rushed. Hurry up, he'd said. The car is waiting. Without another word, he lifted me right off the table. That day, I cried my heart out, the half-chewed piece of rib falling onto the floor. Since that day, I never liked sweet and sour ribs again. Mom choked up, offering me a piece of rib now. Maya, Mom is so sorry for what happened to you. I know you're angry with me, sweetie. But please believe me, I'm hurting too. She continued, her voice thick with emotion. Growing up in a family that always favored boys, I barely had any choices myself. Do you know, since you left, I haven't made sweet and sour ribs even once? The tangy sweet smell took me right back to that cold winter day when I was 4. I felt so helpless, like I was drowning, and big tears started rolling down my face despite myself. Mom trembled as she reached out to wipe away my tears. Maya, I admit I was biased. I raised Chloe for over 20 years, but I only had you for 4. Naturally, I was a bit kinder to her. But Maya, that's my fault. Please don't blame Chloe for it. Please, she begged. In consideration of those 4 short years I did raise you, donate your bone marrow to her. I know I made terrible mistakes, and I promise I'll make it up to you double from now on. Despite the years of longing for her care, I knew I could never be as heartless as she had been to me. A thought flickered. If Chloe could just hold on until after my baby was born, would I donate then? The truth is, there's a dark part of me. Even after having the baby, I probably wouldn't have wanted to donate the marrow. Maybe Mom gave Chloe the wrong impression with her visit, making her think I might change my mind. Because the next time I saw Chloe, she tried to physically attack me. She lunged towards my pregnant belly, screaming about killing my baby. I was prepared for something like this and dodged her easily. She was quickly surrounded by medical staff. She appeared completely unstable, kneeling on the floor and screaming hysterically when she realized she couldn't harm my baby. Since I can't harm your child, I beg you, please, I beg you, why won't you just get struck by lightning and die a horrible death? Ha 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 ha, I was meant to die badly anyway, wasn't I? Then she started crying again, pleading, Maya, please, I beg you, have an abortion and donate your marrow to me. Chloe was eventually discharged from the hospital to receive palliative care elsewhere. She didn't live long enough to see my baby born, and I never had to truly struggle with the final decision of whether or not to donate. After that, I completely cut off all contact with them. I heard through the grapevine that they faced severe online harassment and ended up moving far away to escape it. How could I ever bear to lose my baby? Sometime later, I took my young daughter to visit my aunt's old home and pay respects at her grave nearby. From a distance, I saw someone standing at the gravesite. It was Mom. She had aged dramatically and looked utterly defeated. She stared at my daughter, lost in thought. Tears streamed down her face as she watched us approach. Maya, you're back? She called out uncertainly. Then, a flicker of confused hope crossed her face. I kept some sweet and sour ribs warm for you. What? Are you sick? Donating? Oh, I'll donate to you. I will. Feeling a chill, I quickly picked up my daughter and walked silently past my mother without a word. Later that day, my daughter asked me, Mommy, will you get me a baby brother someday? I shook my head firmly. No, sweetie. I told her gently but resolutely. I will never, ever let my daughter feel even the slightest hint that she is loved less than anyone else.